I really do. Um, Now, one of the suggestions in speaking with Carolyn Yeagle was to eliminate basically the lines talking about the commercial aspect of it. But I'm still concerned about, it's defining it as just off arterial and collector roads. Whereas we go to the town single-family residence, that definition varies because it says typically on local streets with private driveways.
Right, we questioned that at the beginning.
Correct.
That the definitions seemed reversed.
Correct. And I think we need to basically, except instead of saying medium density, take this definition and use it for village single family residential district. Instead of medium density, call it low density or low to medium density. So anybody have any thoughts on that, or?
Yeah, John, I in general, in principle, I agree with what you're saying. But one thing we need to keep in mind, I'm not saying it's correct, I'm just saying one thing we need to keep in mind that these zoning districts are not unique to Clark Summit Borough. They are unique to the multi-municipal plan. So these
Right.
are the same definitions that that apply across the entire the 9 municipalities. And what I think happened here, and this may be I don't want to say a defect, but it may be a artifact of this entire process, because what you opened up saying, well, this is a replacement for our R1. Yes, that's true. But in context of the SAPA plan, this equates to what I think they call an R4 or R5 zoning district. And I think that's where the discontinuity is coming here, that in the 9 municipalities, Clark Summit Borough does not have any low density zoning anymore. It would be part of what is defined as medium density, and that's the same for Clark's Green, I think for the most part, Waverly and Dalton as well. And then what happens is Scranton and Dunmore have high density, and then Newton and West Abington, which have primarily low density. So I completely agree with what you're saying. It's just I don't know if EPD is going to be able to elegantly just redefine this as low density without affecting all 9 municipalities.
Right.
Okay, Jan, and here's my question. Why is village single family, which should be a lower density theoretically than town single family, why is it saying that it's along or just off arterial roads, when town single family, which should be slightly more developed community, is saying typically on local streets with private driveways?
Yeah, and I think that that's a question. I'm not trying to punt here, but that's a question for EPD and has been one of the concerns. Some of us have shared this before. This is not new.
Yes.
That this is an issue, because that village single family residential district, when this was originally raised, was supposed to describe the area out in Red Barn Village in out in Newton Township. That was supposed to be the example of that. We didn't see that this was part of Clark Summit Borough until all of you did in March, or in February, whenever it was. So if you look at it and say, well, does this describe the Red Barn Village area? Yeah, it does. I mean, that is a village area. It's off an arterial road. It's blah, 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 blah. It makes sense perhaps there. But when I think it's imported universally into a context like Clark Summit or Clark's Green as well, I mean, and Dalton probably for that matter, I don't know if it makes sense. to have the same thing. So, John, I agree with your raising this issue completely. I think it's going to be up to EPD in some cases to figure this out and how
Right.
these uniform definitions are going to apply to
Right.
very different situations. Either we need to expand town single family residential district to basically cover most of Clark Summit Borough and probably Clark's Green and other areas and dump the village single family residential, or they're going to have to come up with some other solution, because otherwise we're going to start breaking the uniformity of the zoning districts. And once we start breaking them, then we start running into issues whether it really is a multi-municipal plan then, because if we're fundamentally defining the zoning districts differently in every single then we're back to where we were 2.5 years ago before we
Yeah.
started this process. And I'm not saying that's right to that we need to adhere to them, but this is something that was presented, and concerns have been raised about that, not just with the village single family residential, but also in the Scranton area and other areas as well. That's why that suburban center came out of it, because South Abington Township had similar concerns with them being classified that they were going to become another Dixon City down there from Sheets on downwards, and that's not what they wanted. So
Well,
there
this,
have been some concerns raised.
right, right. And I spoke to Carolyn this morning. She called my office and we talked about this a little bit. And, again, of the public realm standards, I mean, this is a lot of Clark Summit Borough right here. Back to the cheat sheet, the quick view sheets. And she said the reason why we're starting at 7 is because Scranton had so much variation that, I think the first 6 categories were taken up by Scranton just in their definitions alone. But this is, to me, is a huge miss. I cannot let this go through as it is written, or even recommend it. Now, the thing that was presented, this might be Carolyn now trying to call me. Can you hold just a moment?
Sure.
Hello, this is John. Hi, Carolyn. We're in our meeting at the moment. Would you be interested in joining our call? Yes, that'd be fine. Do you have access or the connection?
She needs an invitation.
Yes, we're in a Zoom call right now. Virginia, can I just forward the invite?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please forward the invite to
Okay,
her.
I'm
That'd be
going to
great.
forward the invitation to you, Carolyn. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, bye-bye. Okay, excellent.
Well, that'll work good, because I agree. We need to distinguish between A and B, between the village and the town. We need those distinctions, but it isn't adequately described. And I think it's all in the definition. And here's an example. Today, I got a phone call from somebody that wanted to buy 1004 West Grove. It's actually 3 apartments, and they wanted to make it an office building. It's right in the middle of an R1 district. And by this definition, where it says right off of arterial and collected roads, and to provide opportunities for limited commercial development fronting these roads, there would be their argument. That would be they'd be able to go right in there and say, you've got a problem with your zoning ordinance. If you're saying that this is what you want to do, we want to do it and you're not letting us.
Yeah, so arterial, I mean, certainly you would think of your Grove Streets, your State Street, but then you start thinking, all right, well, Fairview Road in Clark's Green, that's a main collector road.
Yep.
Highland Avenue, all of Highland Avenue is a collector road. That road right in front of my house is a collector road. So you wind up saying, wow, you could really cause a lot of problems with this.
Right. We literally had that phone call today.
Okay.
So the timing is good.
So what Carolyn had suggested is what I put here with the red note to replace it with, but I'm still having trouble with this arterial and collector road definition. I mean, it really doesn't fit.
I agree. And it doesn't make sense that the town single is on local streets,
Mhm.
and that the village single would be on arterial or collector
Right.
roads.
Right.
It sounds like they're trying to put RR1 with Newtons, like Shannon was saying, and they're really very different.
Right. I
Maybe
agree
they're
with
missing,
Shannon
maybe,
explained that perfectly. I agree entirely.
yeah, yeah. I think that maybe there should be one more definition in here.
Well, and maybe the solution is to simply get rid of the village single family residential district. Because the town single family residential district, I really do appreciate that medium density, the concern with that. I really do. But again, it's the context of our entire, it's relative to the entire multi-municipal plan district, not to, so we're not saying it's low density in the context of Clark Summit Borough. We're saying that it would be, or medium density in context of Clark Summit Borough. It's medium density in the context of, as opposed to Scranton, Dunmore, and the other areas which have much more intensive development. So one way to handle it might be just to get rid of village single family residential.
That-
But by
That
doing
would be one
that,
way,
then we're going to take
but-
our R1, R2, and R3 zones and zone them
Yeah.
all as one zone in our
Yeah.
new ordinance.
but
Yeah.
here's-
And that
here's-
doesn't seem appropriate either.
Here's the problem. If we just simply eliminate it, we go to the town single family residential. Now we have two family. We've got other
No.
things that could possibly go into the zoning district.
Yeah.
So I still think we need to somehow separate that,
Okay.
either a new definition or call it village type 2
If I
or
can
something.
interrupt 1 second, Ed Yashinskis, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we have Ed
Hey.
Yashinskis on the
Oh,
phone.
terrific.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Go ahead. Ed, we're in the middle of talking, just debating the difference between a village single-family residential and town single-family residential definitions.
Okay.
So John, I'm sorry, go back to where
Yeah.
you were.
So Karen, we could they could even subdivide that, like you said, Virginia, maybe 7A and 7B if they want to keep it. And then ours could be 7B or village single family residential type B or something.
It still doesn't make sense to me that they're the roads. Why would village, which is lesser density than town, be on arterial roads and towns be on local roads?
Right.
That still just doesn't make sense to me. I think that that's a defect. I think in trying to incorporate Newton's developments, I don't know.
Maybe it is having a town single family residential A and B or something like that as
Mhm.
well.
Or even town A and B.
Yeah.
I think that would
Yeah.
work. Did they,
Yeah, that's
Along-
right. Town A and B might be the way to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Shannon, along the way, did they decide that Clark Summit Borough would be considered a town under this new plan?
That was never exactly clear. There was some discussion when they came up with the original, I think it was 25 potential zoning districts. There was the implication that Clark Summit, Clark's Green had, the visualization that we received was that they did drone footage. So if you zoom up to 3,000 feet or 1,500 feet, that, really you don't see much difference in the densities between a Clark's Green and a Clark Summit. And that's more of what they were looking at. But if Carolyn's on the call, she might be able to explain the methodology that they used better. But that's how it was presented to us. And we really didn't have, I'm not trying to be, but we really haven't had these definitions. We did a lot of work without having the definitions, even though people were calling for them. That may figure into it as well, that maybe some of these were not as well developed as they might be. But
Yeah.
I could see maybe doing a town single family residential, maybe A and B or something of that sort. But to accommodate the more dense uses. And this is probably going to, I'm going off on a tangent here, but we just had the Lackawanna Luzerne Joint Comprehensive Planning meeting earlier today as well. Now, this is completely separate from SOPA or anything like that, but these issues are coming up in other areas as well. That specific topic was coming up on densities and relating it to affordable housing and other issues. Other areas are struggling with this right now too.
Right. I don't think, from my perspective, that it's going to undo or unhinge anything we've done previously, other than either redefining or coming up with a new definition. Because we were always going by the cheat sheets and understanding what that was. If this is the village single family residential was the lowest density that we had. And it was established, in at least in my mind's eye, that was always going to be our R1, our low density, or bigger lots, no duplexes or anything like that. So I always felt comfortable. I feel comfortable moving forward with only that definition change, and finding obviously all the places where that definition has to be corrected.
So we could theoretically make a motion tonight to forward it to council with one condition.
Well, there was a second one. That was number 19, highway commercial. I think we were talking about suburban center.
Highway 19, we removed 19.
Yeah.
We made 19 either down on south, we made it the same. I forget, the same as what was across the street. And north, we made it the same as what was across the street. So 19 should have been pulled completely from there. And the new one shouldn't have it in there. That's what I told her to do. So the one that you got.
I have the older one then.
Yeah, I sent a new one out this morning, I think.
What was there?
These updates are flying back and forth so fast. I'm having trouble keeping up.
I know. When we got it, I realized that they had missed some things, so I sent it through. They made the corrections, and I realized I had missed 2 things. So I sent it through again. Now I'm realizing that the front page that they did, I didn't tell them to correct, and they didn't remove 19 from the front page. So they need to still do that. So that on that front page, that should just disappear. We don't have 19 anymore. It is gone completely.
I know highway commercial's gone, but I see again, now I'm getting confused. I thought that was suburban center.
Yeah, what happened was that basically from the Sheets area up the hill, past the new KFC, the old Pizza Hut, up to Grove Street, that area would be suburban center. And then once we get to Grove Street, then basically our main downtown corridor from the railroad to roughly 1 block off of State Street is the downtown mixed use area. So we don't have any more. There was originally highway commercial interspersed in there, but we don't have any of that.
Suburban center is 12B.
Yeah.
That's
there it is.
That's suburban center residential, not suburban center commercial.
Well, that's where we moved everything under. We never had 12. We only had 12B.
Oh, okay. So this is what we're talking about, Shannon, in your mind's eye? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a little confused, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep me honest, guys.
We're gonna try.
Yeah, okay.
Well, your confusion is probably warranted because there was originally suburban center, but it was called just suburban center, not suburban center residential. So I don't think that was a complete definition in the original map that we had from December.
Okay. So then this just simply goes away.
Right. And even up above it in the written definition, they need to remove 19. And over to your left. See, there it is down at the bottom, 19.
Virginia, the EPD did not do a revised map or anything, did they?
No, I only asked.
Okay.
We asked for these, so I asked for these.
Okay.
I didn't give them the map. We have revisions for the map, and we have revisions for the documents. I haven't sent those on yet.
Okay. I didn't see a new map, and I was just
No, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as we make our motion, I'll send it on to EPD to update the ordinance and the map as well.
Okay, so got that straightened out.
Mm-hmm.
19 is gone. We added 12B. And I don't know where 12B falls. Does Clark Screen have 12B? We don't know. And, you know, part of this process, I don't know what the other municipalities are doing. And I don't know what the other definitions are for some of the other municipalities. So,
Shannon has that, and I do have that. I don't have it with me because, like I said, I can't go on remote to my stuff at work and be on the Zoom.
right,
But Shannon, you know what I'm talking about.
That county summary.
Yeah, the county
Yeah.
summary, and that's what we were using to determine when we wanted to exclude things, whether they had it in other communities.
Yeah.
There is a big spreadsheet that they have that lists every community and every zone, and then every community, what zones they have and what they don't have.
here up in the definition in the town zoning transect, the two municipalities, Clark Screen and Clark Summit, are classified as town.
That answers, yeah.
That's where I saw it. Okay, so
Was Carolyn going to join us?
yes, she is. She said she was about 20 minutes out.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I've been waiting
Yeah.
for her.
She had to get to a computer. A few more minutes.
No problem.
Hopefully she'll be joining us. So going back through the sheets, I don't know if anybody had a chance to review anything else. I apologize. I don't have the latest and greatest stuff, but I took a quick peruse through. I didn't see anything that I was overly concerned about. These references, though, these need to be
They need to be filled in.
filled in, correct?
Right. I assumed that was going to be their job to do. I will ask, well, we'll check with Carolyn when she gets here.
And I have not had the opportunity to go through and, you know, compare it with what we've had. So I'm just,
Yeah, the references, so the spreadsheet that they gave me to plug in the definitions did not include anything on these references. So I did not have anything to give them, to complete, to return to them. So I will ask Carolyn, but I imagine that they'll fill them in based on our updated document. If not, we'll have to go in. But otherwise, I can tell you that the final document that I sent out this morning matches what we decided on when we went through each one, and what, you know, we had the listing of which ones were going to be in which one. I proofed them and they're now mirroring.
Right.
But I didn't get into all the dimensions or public realm because that wasn't part of what she gave me.
The one, I don't know why I can't remember this, but the rear yard setback is 25 feet, and not 30.
Jen, it's 25, isn't it?
But,
Rear setback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
I was just thinking there's one that's just different. There's one that's 30 and 35 in the front and 30 in the back. And it's weird.
That would be R1, wouldn't it?
I think
Well,
it is.
you know, it depended on the size of the property.
That does make us, but it would be in the R1 and then
Yeah,
depending upon the,
yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only one, and it's, like I said, it's so odd. I don't know why. And it's not the biggest one either. It's the one before it. It's very weird.
Hmm.
But yeah, most of it's 25.
Yeah, I stand corrected. And that I thought we corrected that, didn't we, years ago? The 30 and 25, or
No, there was no change.
I think
to
it
the
was
setback.
it was a front yard setback. I thought we made a correction to that to be consistent.
So,
But the
I'll
lot
remember.
size to the rear is 30 on those larger lots. Did we want to be consistent with the R1 zoning for what we would consider the R1 here? Make
I
those
would think
setbacks
so.
Pardon?
I would think so.
Okay. Well, I don't like that. Let me redo that.
Okay, Carolyn Yeagle is here.
Hey, Carolyn Eagle. Hello, Carolyn.
Hello,
Hi, Carolyn.
how are you?
Good, welcome.
Thank you.
Hang on, we're just making an edit and then John will address you. Hang on.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there.
Oh, did it backwards. Okay. So, okay, so Carolyn, we are looking at the SAPA quick view sheets. And we're going through, and what we're calling our low density right now is called the category 7 for village single family residential. And when we go to our definitions in the draft ordinance, village single family residential district says to permit medium density neighborhoods of single family attached and detached dwellings along or just off arterial and collector roads, and to provide opportunities for limited commercial development on properties fronting along these roads. Now, you had made a suggestion that we could eliminate the commercial development aspect of that definition by
Right.
changing it to permit low to medium density neighborhoods within the vicinity of arterial and collector roads for the purpose of accommodating single family attached and detached dwellings. We're still having some issue with calling this arterial and collector roads because these are much bigger neighborhoods. You know, I consider these village zoning descriptions, you know, I do a lot of traveling in my job and I see them quite a bit where you have, again, maybe a main state route and there's houses or residences aligned on that state route. Maybe there's one block behind it, but we have some pretty deep neighborhoods and I don't think this really fits the spirit of what those neighborhoods are.
I think when there was the introduction of low density, if we can just take this a little bit or piece at a time, the shift, first of all, to go from and have the range of low to medium was trying to respect that in the relative continuum, there is still the medium, but then in context of the borough, you're considering that your low district. So I think that was one aspect of it. And the reason being, because there are several lower density referenced kinds of districts between like numbers 3 and 6, I think. So I think that's doable. The second part, I guess I was trying to consider was the aspect of the neighborhoods. And so that's, I guess from a general planning perspective, neighborhoods are broader, maybe in my mind, than what you're referencing there. Because I also thought about the word vicinity. So it was trying to capture something that was not on one of those streets, particularly, meaning arterial or collector, but that it was near it. And I think the other reason I was thinking about the word vicinity was in some of these other lower districts, and then when we get into the town downtown and some of the other other mixed use kinds of things, there was still this concept from just an overall, you're a tighter borough than some of the other boroughs. So that, I guess I just wanted to share, those were sort of my 3 points of the triangle that I was trying to consider how we could fold in and recognize your specific single family neighborhoods within the bigger picture.
Right.
So, and still be at the intensity of where you guys are, again, neighborhood wise, compared to some of the other places that either are larger lot or, you know, even tighter lot, say, you know, city-wise. So that part, I guess, about the vicinity was really my direction, or in my mind, of it's not about driveways feeding on those roads directly, but that there was at least that network within some sort of proximity. So that's what I've got. And so we can go from there.
Right, right. So, and that's fine, but then you go to the next definition for town single-family residential district, and you read it, and it says to accommodate medium-density neighborhoods of single-family attached and detached dwellings, typical on local streets and with private driveways. And it almost would seem to suggest that the town single-family residential district is more or less more of a neighborhood off those arterial roads and collector roads. Whereas the way we were viewing it, what was being defined both in a quick view sheets and our understanding of what low density was going to be, that it just wasn't jiving. It didn't seem to be properly aligned. We're asking the question, can we do a town single-family residential A and a single town single-family residential B?
Sure. And then what you have is the variation of the lot size or setbacks or whatever you want to do. Sure.
Okay, okay. And then I don't know how much work Clark's Greenboro has done, but you know, I would think that they'd be very interested in this discussion as well.
I can put it out to Mary Liz and then see how we can get in contact with them or what they want to do.
Okay.
Sure.
What does the members of the planning commission feel? Would we like to do an A and a B for town single family residential districts?
One thing before anybody answers that, I guess, is there besides the dimensional character, is there any use difference that you want to make sure you highlight between the two? And
Yes. Yes, big differences in what can and can't be.
And that was something that I was going to mention, because the current village single-family residential district allows single-family attached and detached dwellings. That's one of the primary distinctions right now between the R1 and R2. We don't allow attached, you know, like duplexes.
Two-family.
Yeah, 2-family or 3-family, or you know, sometimes even 4. So when we if we do follow this route, I'm understanding we would be eliminating this village completely and replacing it with an A and B town. And the primary distinction between them is one would be single family detached, and the other one would be single family detached and attached. And the other distinction, well, it's not really a distinction, but it distinguishes those two zoning districts from all the other zoning districts, is there's no commercial at all.
Right.
Basically speaking, there's some limit, but so is that what you're saying, John?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct, Shannon.
yeah,
Okay.
I think that's very logical and doable.
Great.
Do you want us to find this and mark it up and send it to you, or do you want to do this at your office?
I think if it's a matter of, I'm not at my office right this second. If it's a matter of what you're trying to accomplish this evening, just a second, I need to sit down. That there is the opportunity to frame out what the preference is, which I think you've done. But I mean, if you're making a formal type of statement on it, that there would be a and a B of number 7 with the refined district statement, and then the distinction as I'm sorry, the name didn't pop up on the name who just spoke.
It was
before.
Shannon
Oh,
Brown.
hi,
was
hi,
just-
Shannon. Sounds different. On the phone there. That the attached on one and the detached on A, and then the attached and detached on B, then I'm using the markup of uses from the respective table that Virginia shared on Thursday last week, and we've gone back and forth on. And
Right.
then we need to take the dimensional criteria associated with what you have going on in those respective districts now to fold those in. And I think that that set of bullets is pretty clear, and we can do that.
So you'll take care of this and send something to us to see that it's to match.
Done. Correct.
Good. Okay.
I can't, I'm not sitting at my desk right this second, so I can't do it right now.
Oh, not
Do
a
you need
problem.
an email reminder to you so that you can deal with it in the morning?
Well, why
That
don't
would be-
why don't we? I'm sorry, Carolyn, to jump in, but what we're here in the meeting, John. Why don't we mark it up and just get it to Carolyn then? And that way, because it's fairly straightforward once we do it. And that way she would have everything, because it is kind of a crossing over, and 7 will become 8A effectively and 8B, but the dimensions all stay there. Why don't we just quickly mark it up and then get it to her?
And I'm following everything that everyone's saying, so that would be,
Yeah.
I think there's like a cross check between the both of us.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Well,
even
I just-
Virginia, sorry,
Yeah.
Virginia, or if you were just identifying in a set of bullets, however works best for you, Shannon, or Virginia, or John, is great.
Well, I'm just thinking, Carolyn, we're thinking of making a recommendation tonight so that we can finally get this to Borough
Council.
Council for
Yeah.
doing their review. So I think if we can mark it up, that way we all know what we're voting on and we can move forward with that and
Perfect.
get this to them as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I'm glad
Okay.
we were able to talk.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay,
Carolyn, while you're on the phone, on these sheets, when on the second page of the definitions, the public realm standards, and it says see chapter XX.
Yes.
Is that something that you guys will fill in once you get the
Yes.
final ordinance back?
Yes,
Okay,
it
great.
is.
That's what I
Yeah.
presumed. I wanted to be sure.
yes, you're correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I can see the changes here on the screen, so that's gonna work.
Good.
But just to clarify, I think John is putting the medium and low density for our benefit, but that should not be
Right.
in the, because that starts creating questions then for the whole multi-municipal context. So,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking for something there if you could, a better language. I'm just putting that in for our, like you said, Shannon, for us.
yeah.
Again, I'm open to suggestions, whatever you would suggest for that, or any ideas immediately that comes to mind.
I think we should keep the town single-family residential and just add 8A and 8B to it. And then we'll take care of it very simply. The definitions will be the definitions from 8 currently,
Okay,
with the revision that 8A would have just single-family detached, 8B has single-family attached and detached. That's all I think we need to do. That we
just
keep
leave
it
it in
simple.
the definition.
Yeah, and just
Right.
keep
Okay.
it as simple as we can. And that way it doesn't potentially interfere with any other municipalities either, because we can effectively, EPD or whomever can consolidate 8 for other municipalities if they want to.
Yeah.
It really doesn't change anything for other municipalities unless they want to do the same thing. That way we're not at the last minute here kind of interjecting, oh, we're adding new zoning districts. Well, we're really not. We're just doing a
Right.
slight variation on that.
Right. Okay. Understood. All right. So we're going to change it here. We're also going to place it here.
And I would just copy the definition from that B, 1B, what it is now. And all we have to do is do the attached and detached.
Attached to detached.
Yep.
I follow.
Do that very simply here. Oh, come on, you turkey.
And then, John, you're okay then with the prior conversations that you had with Carolyn that we don't need to put the low, medium, we don't need all that stuff. We'll just use the definitions that are there. You're okay with that, right?
Be- the criteria for the setbacks and the lot size are going to be the things that are distinguishing that foremost. And then the notion of where the borough is in comparison to other lower intensities, and then, you know, obviously even higher intensities in other places. So I think your lot sizes reflect that medium. But with the A and the B, then you can distinguish those with the specific numbers as to what it means.
We just
Okay.
wanna- So we just want to simply say single family dwellings.
No, it should be,
Well, I think the town definition just removed detached dwellings. So single family attached,
Attached.
No.
Okay.
I think
sorry,
it should be
single family
single-family
detached.
detached. Yeah.
yes, just remove the attached and words.
Agree.
And then B just adds attached. But what I'm saying there is, John, that we have that to permit low and medium density neighborhoods. Would you be opposed to, since we got this corrected now, to taking out the low density? The only concern I have is, again, in the context of a multi-municipal plan, now we're kind of interjecting an order of magnitude issue by retaining that low density neighborhoods definition there.
I think with my conversation with Carolyn earlier today, and Carolyn, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you can edit this for the other municipalities. It's not set in stone or completely granite that you can't make those edits for the other groups. And we're
That's
also-
true.
We are also saying to permit low to medium density neighborhoods. We're not committing to one or the other as well.
I think with the minimum lot sizes that are associated with each of these two, A and B, in the continuum, they are medium. And understandably within the borough, the one is lower than the other. So if it's on A, the new 8A, that is low to medium. And then the 8B, which is medium, is that able to be incorporated? Still in context of what
Excuse me,
you're
somebody have
thinking.
TV on, can you mute your TV? Thank you. I'm sorry, Carolyn, go ahead.
Let me just go to the line. If the 8A were to be low to medium, and the 8B is medium, then we are having the understanding that, I'm thinking through this, the understanding that the minimum lot sizes in the dimensional table do have some distinctions, right, with those references. It satisfies the medium scenario or the continuum of the whole region by having medium in there. But the low on 8A is acknowledging that you all as a borough have that lower intensity district affiliated with the 8A. I'm trying to bridge, I think, without, and Shannon, I'm respecting and agreeing and nodding with, we don't want to go too far off a path, right, of the overall range.
And this is somewhat unfair, but like I said, that the joint county plan, comprehensive plan, is likely going to be discouraging low density development. So if we have those definitions in there, that may become potentially an issue for that. If we're in the medium density anyway, according to that plan, you know, we're targeted and we're consistent with it. If we're saying we're low density, it's only low density relative to us. It's not low density relative to Newton. I'm just making a comment. I'm not saying it has to be either way, but again, it's looking at that bigger picture that this is part of a larger continuum, not relative to us.
Okay. And we'll call this low in District B. Okay, does everybody agree with this? Our planning commission, or is everybody like the definition or what we're doing? Do they understand it? Do you understand it?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll, type A will be the lower to medium, and then with attached, and then town single family residential B will be the medium with attached, your duplexes and that sort of thing. Smaller lots, more dense neighborhoods.
So how are you going to redraw the map, or do you have to redraw the map?
No, there shouldn't be any changes to the map, other than we had some minor tweaks to it, but there shouldn't be any changes to the map at all. It would just be the naming would go different. So what is currently the village, whatever it is, village single family residential would just simply be relabeled 8A and the other one 8B.
Agree.
Okay. All right.
But it's a good question, Mike, to make sure we're not making changes. Yeah, it shouldn't affect the map at all, other than the names.
Would we be able to get an updated map, Carolyn?
Virginia, you had mentioned there were a couple of markups that you had. Is that something that we could do and get them together? You're on mute.
I'll send them to you tomorrow morning. Yeah, there's two other changes besides just renaming some districts. So I'll get you those first thing in the morning, okay?
Yeah, John, I'd like to be able to do that all at once, if that's okay, because I think we don't want multiple maps.
Yep.
Circling.
Okay.
I agree. I think that'd be a great idea, and we'll have a fresh document, you know, both the zoning ordinance, the SAPA quick view, and now the map. Everything will come together as one unit, one piece of information.
Terrific.
Okay, do we Okay, we have some other things to go through this evening, I believe, or have we satisfied all our concerns at this time?
As far as I knew, we were just gonna look through these cheat sheets tonight and then just, we had already gone through the document and through the map and made the changes, so I just have to send them on.
Okay. All right, guys, so we'll have these other markups. I'll save what I've marked up this evening and we'll send them out to Virginia and Carolyn.
Thank you.
So
Thank
Virginia, you have the record, then Carolyn, you'll have them for your use.
Thank you.
So,
Okay.
And
yeah,
John, what-
Carolyn, go ahead, I'm sorry, Shannon, go ahead.
I was going to quickly say, John, while you have it up there, that town zoning transect, the main page there, the first page where you crossed out the 19, the 12 should be 12B in there as well.
Right.
Good catch.
And then 7 will go to 8A and
Right.
8
It'll
will
go to
be
8B.
8B. Just while you have it open.
Not a problem.
So then, once I get what we discussed today in the final document, tomorrow I will be able to send everything to Carolyn. We will have the final draft document and the transect updates, and I'll send her the map changes. So everything will go to you, Carolyn, tomorrow.
That's great. Then can I coordinate with you on schedule?
Yeah.
After that, after we take a look at everything?
Sure.
Okay. What council meeting were you aiming to forward?
Our work session is 2 weeks from tonight. It would be great to have something to present to them then to start looking at it.
If I can get it to you next week, by the end of next week, would that be okay?
Yeah, that worked for me. If the planning commission is okay with sending it through contingent on my approval of what the edits were, then yeah, that'd be plenty of time for me.
Okay.
So that would give you and I next week just to walk through what we have updated.
Yes.
I am not able to give you anything prior to the end of this week from our end. I can look at it, but I'm not going to be able to turn it around.
That's
But
no
I can.
problem.
I can do it next week, and then we can coordinate next week, and then you would have it for that packet for 2 Wednesdays from now. That's terrific.
I hope this
All right.
isn't premature, but then I formally move that we adopt this as our recommendation, contingent on the edits that we've specified tonight and having the edited documents and Virginia reviewing it, and that we adopt that as our recommendation to Borough Council.
And I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made by Shannon, seconded by Carol Regal. Do we want to continue to go through, or are we satisfied with our work thus far to recommend to council? Let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Okay, any nays? All right, motion carries.
Yay. Carolyn, you can certainly disconnect. You're done.
All right. I'll look forward to talking with you next
Thank-
week. Thank
Thank
you,
you, thank you
everyone.
thank you, Carolyn, for coming
Bye-bye.
in
Very much.
the last
Appreciate
minute like that.
the opportunity. Thanks. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
All right, that's it.
Hey, do we have anything else we need to talk about?
No, we were talking, Virginia, again, while I was applying for my permit application here on my property. We discovered there was a gap in the zoning dealing with side yard setbacks that face the street, but we found out, I was just reviewing, it was picked up, I keep doing that, I'm sorry, guys. That when you have a street with a side yard, you're treating it as a front yard. You see the distance?
Yeah.
It's pointing to accessory structure, front yard, principal structure, front yard on that side. So it is addressed now with the new ordinance.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we just have the 30 feet. The definition of number 7 here, changing it back. And then these edits. And Virginia, I'll send these to you this evening.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything
Alright.
else anybody would like to bring up at this time?
John, I would like to bring up something. When you move to conclude the meeting tonight, I think we should recess it rather than adjourn, just in case something comes up in the revisions that need to be addressed that are unseen right now. Doesn't mean you have to call a recess meeting, but at least have the availability without advertising.
Okay.
Good point, Mike. Good point. So why don't we do that rather than adjourning? We will recess this meeting. And then if anything comes up in the meantime, we could just reconvene and address those issues if it becomes necessary.
I think you need a motion to recess, though.
Do we?
I
I'll
think.
make a motion to recess.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
Motion's been made by Ed Jasinska, seconded by Carol Rubel. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes, aye.
Yes. Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. And we are recessed. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Excellent.
Good night,
very much
everybody.
for your
Thank
hard
Good
you.
work.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye.
Sparklers will be delivered to everyone's house this evening.
Yeah, yay for the party.
All right, very good. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I know.